So, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Happy Bringling. Thank you so much for all of you to join this session on entrepreneurship. What is entrepreneurship all about? We all had been hearing about entrepreneurship in multiple different ways. We had been seeing that into various different aspects. And the one thing which I have learned in my last 7 years of entrepreneurship journey, wherein each day looks like an year of experience. And that's why I always say that it's not actually 7 years, it's actually 7 into 365 days. And that's what it makes it so unique and it's so enriching journey. And I'm really thank and wish you a very very all the best to all of you entrepreneurs to take this step and taking towards making this system, making this entire ecosystem really really valuable. I am sure all of you would be able to create lots of value in the ecosystem and bring the entire country, bring the entire ecosystem and entire globe into a more value generated economy, and helps out in developing that GDP or even personal growth or even organizational growth. So this is how the entrepreneurship is so important. I am very passionate about it, and when I started my journey 7 years ago, this is what I was looking at: some area, some opportunity. How can I get benefited? How can I, somebody mentor me? How can somebody tell me what are the different steps in entrepreneurship? What are the things which we need to take care of? And unfortunately or fortunately, I didn't have anybody, so I have explored it on my own and have kind of tried to put it into a simple 4 step process, 4 areas where if you take care of that, you'll be able to sustain and adapt and even scale up your businesses to even any value. You can easily make it to a unicorn level. And that is where, when I started the program called Design Your Unicorn, which I will anyways talk about it later, is is basically to help solopreneurs, entrepreneurs, and business owners to help sustain, adapt, and scale up their businesses from an idea to a unicorn level. Of course, it's not just about a unicorn; it's about a profitable unicorn, which is the most important aspect today, because 97% of businesses don't survive because of the profitability. So, without taking much of the time, I would want each of you to just have a tell you little things out there. So I will request you some of the questions to be answered into the chat box, and please keep your question posted out in the chat box. I'll definitely take that up at the end of the session. And when I started off, as I said, entrepreneurship, we always talk about entrepreneurship, but it is subject to market risk. And we always look for some document which tells us that before we invest our time, energy, money, we should have a manual. We should have something by which we can understand what is entrepreneurship, what is businesses, what are the things which we are looking at in terms of challenges, what could be the potential risk, what could be the potential opportunities which we can find it out. And unfortunately, there is no entrepreneurship manual. You'll have to define your own entrepreneurship manual. You'll have to define your own areas of learnings, opportunities, how you can grow yourself better. Now, before I move forward, this is what the journey of every entrepreneur is. This is what the journey of mine was. I was working as a corporate employee, as a 9 to 5 job, typical job, was had a successful career. In fact, I had got 16 times growth in just 11 years of time. I was the youngest vice president at the age of 34 years. And even when I started my full-time entrepreneurship journey, I found it was so difficult to do that. It was not easy to develop a venture, even a startup a venture. I didn't even know how to name a company, how to create a logo. And that is where, when I was striving it out, every time there is a motivation: how can I afford it, how can I do it? And that is the first mindset change which I needed to do. Because in the corporate life, we are always running towards money, that okay, I'll work, I'll get money, I'll work, I'll get money, and it's a continuous cycle which keeps going on month after month. But when you are in a startup, it's a complete different uphill. So with this, I would want all of you to just look at it, this particular slide, and tell me about your thoughts at this point in time. Just introspect a little bit, put up your name out there. I mean, your name is anyways there. So which area, which mindset you are still on with respect to work, effort, support, and income level? What is that aspect of your mindset at this point in time? And be fair to yourself, because it's not a competition. Are you still at an entrepreneurship mindset? I would want you to type it into the chat window. Or you are in the mid of that. Maybe in one you are at entrepreneurship mindset, in one another you are an employee mindset. Okay, so Minakshi says 100%. So Minakshi, that means 100% entrepreneurship. Okay,
Yeah.
great. Okay, so Minakshi says 100% entrepreneurship. Then, okay, Renuka says want to make a profitable social impact. Thank you. Shweta says entrepreneurship for sure. Rituparna says yes. Tejasvi says I'm truly entrepreneur. Nisha says entrepreneurial mindset. Sachi says definitely entrepreneur by all means. Priyanka, entrepreneurship, effort, support, income, and employee. Wow, and an employee. Very good. Thank you
Wow.
so much,
Like
Priyanka. That's a lovely way to
Priyanka
express
is,
it out.
yeah.
Uh, Chandana, entrepreneur. Shruti says entrepreneur. Yes, entrepreneurship with profit. Great. So I think everybody out here is an entrepreneur. It's a very great team, session out there then, because I generally don't find people like this who are so positive about entrepreneurship. And of course, there's no doubt about it that why you are all part of IIM Bangalore, cohort, and this is why you are definitely there. So definitely, there is something which is there in you, your businesses, your ventures, your ideas, because of which you are there. So thank you so much for joining in today, and I'll have a lovely session today with all of you. Sharmila, do stop me over if you have something to share about or something you want me to cover up.
Sure. I'll do that.
Okay. Uh, okay. So the some common data points which I'm just sharing it with you, that how does this entrepreneurship world is growing. Okay, there are around 300 million entrepreneurs at this point. I mean, this data is actually around a year or two old, but it is still falls true into the similar zone. But it could be multi-fold at this point in time. 300 million entrepreneurs. There are around 150 million startups today globally. This is a global data which I'm talking about. 50% of them close within 1 year. And all of them are really with entrepreneurship mindset. They're all perfect about, and I've seen a lot of entrepreneurs who are successful corporate employees, who have been successful, corporate personal, or maybe have their some other career, and they've started their venture, and they lose out the entire hope, money, and they close down their businesses. 90% don't survive beyond the third years. Only 8% gets considered for funding. See, you cannot scale a business without funds. You will require investments to scale up your businesses. But before you get to that level, you need to self sustain yourself. And we will definitely talk about the steps around that, how you can do on that aspect from an end to end scenario. That even if you have an idea right now, if you have a early traction, even if you are having at a growth stage, or even if you are looking for a funding, and you're wanting to scale it up globally and much better for yourself, maybe eventually to become a unicorn. Less than 4% actually gets funding. Rest all businesses keeps thinking about bootstrapping or try to struggle or manage it out. They may not be able to scale it to a unicorn level, and only one less than 1% actually achieves sustainability. So 99% of the startups or the businesses actually goes down within not more than 5 years if they survive beyond 3 years. And this is the current state of the businesses today, because of which it becomes very important, because it's very complex scenario. So I'm going to explain that one by one to all of you, that how it can be benefited around that. Now, this I'm sure everybody would have been knowing about this ESBI matrix. How many of you are aware what is this ESBI matrix? Can you put it in the chat window? And whose matrix is this, or this? Okay, Rich Dad Shweta says yes. Rupa says no, she doesn't know. Okay, no problem. Okay, Onal also says no, not aware. Hachi says no clue. Okay, so Robert Kiyosaki, Shweta says yes. Shweta, so I think you have read that book. And so I think most of you are not aware about this ESBI matrix. And I just want to spend little time around there. And this is why I'm sharing this, because this particular matrix actually tells you whether you are really an entrepreneur or you are still an employee. Everybody is very sure that they are a full-fledged, you know, completely an entrepreneur, 100% entrepreneur. Everybody of you have, put in that message. But this matrix actually helps you to analyze whether you are really an entrepreneur or you are still working on an entrepreneurship or business with an employee mindset. See, success or failure in business depends on your mindset. 60% is your mindset. So the first thing which you need to focus upon, internalize, is about your mindset. So now think about a scenario. So I'll just say, I think Tejasvi says, I want to be scale up sustainability. Yes, okay. So ESBI, if you see from the perspective of Robert Kiyosaki, and it's a very famous book, Rich Dad Poor Dad. And this book I apparently got, to read when I was into second year of my corporate life. And I was around, it was around 2004, 2005 I'm talking about. And it actually reached to me by, it was actually given to me by a person who was pitching his network marketing to me. I did eventually join that, but only for the purpose of learning at that point in time. And of course, I like that concept. Even today, I like that concept. Uh, the one thing which you have to understand in this ESBI, and the E stands for entrepreneur. S stands for, E stands for employee. S stands for self-employed. B stands for business owner, and I stands for investor. This is where employee is the person who is actually doing a normal job. Everybody is aware about who is employee. Now, the my maximum people who want to shift their life towards self-employed, they to become a entrepreneurship, they actually turn into self-employed. Now, what is self-employed? Self-employed is typically wherein you are working it for yourself. You have your own business, but most of it is dependent on you. Like you would have seen some doctors, the clinics which they run, the professionals like your lawyers, they are self-employed people. They cannot run it, their businesses won't run if they are not working into that. They are the only ones who are running that business. They are the only ones who are managing their business. If they are pulled out of their from that business, the entire system will collapse. They may have employees, they may have large team, which is fine, but that does not mean that they are doing a business. They are self-employed. In Hindi terms, if you are all comfortable, are all you comfortable with Hindi and English mix, both of it? Put it in the chat window. If you are having some problems, please type no so that I can make sure that it's only in English. Yes, everybody looks to be comfortable with that. Okay, great. Thanks, Rupa. Okay. Now, this is where I will be, in a simple language, the way it is said, employee is called, a knocker in a Hindi language, in a very raw form, or the naukri which we talk about as a job. Self-employed is khud ka knocker. You are doing your own job. The work which is supposed to be done is you are the only person who can do that job. And business owner is like a little, see, it can be a small, medium, or big businesses or macro businesses, doesn't matter. But what it means is that more and more you spend, you use your team to do it, to scale it up. You use processes, you use systems for that. And even if you're pulled out from that business, I mean, it may not be the complete part of it, but your business should continue. So, like the same doctor, if the doctor sets up an hospital and that hospital is run by multiple other doctors, while this doctor is also practicing there, but it is not completely dependent on that doctor. Similarly, if you're an architect, rather than developing every model yourself, you set up your businesses and processes in such a manner that there are more architects coming into your company and developing those businesses for you, or developing those you know what you say, the models for them, for the customers. You might be reviewing them, or eventually you will have somebody who will be reviewing that as a senior person. That is why you will see a lot of companies will have CEOs and COOs, everybody different. Absolutely, Prachi. This is called autopilot mode of business, where the actual work of owner when the business is running. See, remember, in this book, there is a very good thing which they say that, and I will talk about that as well. Okay, now I want to develop. Oh, now, this is where the whole concept is. Now, you think about yourself in current scenario and put yourself in the shoes of this particular matrix and try to think where exactly you fit in. Are you, you're definitely not an employee, but are you a self-employed or a business owner? Put it in the chat window right now. And I will talk about who is an investor as well, and how you can become an investor within your own business. And when will you actually shift to become an investor? Okay, so Nisha says self-employed, Sachi self-employed, Prachi also says self-employed, Nikita self-employed, Alok Bhagat says self-employed, Peksha says self-employed, Tejasvi says business owner. That's great, Tejasvi. But I think you are still looking to scale it up. So you have team members with you, but we'll take it up later. Onal says self-employed. Uh, uh, okay, great, Tejasvi. So it's a process for growth. Margaret says, Priyanka says self-employed. See, this is what the typical challenges are. And one thing which I would want to tell you, it's okay wherever you are in. It's a journey. Remember, nobody can reach out to a stage of business owner directly. You cannot jump. It's a process. So even if you are working into as a self-employed today, don't get carried away by these terminologies and these aspects. That, you know what, I am only working on my business. How long I'll continue to do? Let me hire people. Please do not do this mistake. Initially, you should be 100% into the business. In fact, I would always suggest people be an employee for a couple of years, at least couple of years. You will understand how does the corporate ecosystem works, how does the overall system works, how do you know what are the mistakes which other business owners does, other companies does. So it gives you a lot of perspective. See, it's not about that I'm trying to demean a job out here by saying you employee is not a gali, it's not an abusive word. The biggest problem what happens is people tend to get carried away with those influencers or experts who always say job is bad. See, they don't try to tell you that the job is bad. What they try to tell you is the mindset is wrong. So it's all about the mindset, but your actual working You need to make sure that you understand the system. So do a job for a couple of years with somebody so that you can learn from their mistakes. You can do your own mistakes, and there also you work with a concept of an entrepreneur. Have a mindset of a business owner. Work with that business owner and help them to grow their business. Now if you're in a corporate, you can work with your head of the department, you can work with your boss and help them to grow their business or their the entire uh, function or whatever department. Then you start parallelly, either start a parallel income or maybe work completely on your own. See, I would never recommend you to spend money on employees or systems and technology too much initially, because your processes are not rightly set. So be a self-employed person. Own that thing yourself, that you want to do something of your own in your expertise. Find out that expertise and try and venture it out. Once you get comfortable with that, once you know the right processes, once you know your customer, once you know your systems, then start shifting it out into a business owner. And there you start delegating small tasks to your team. Otherwise you will have a real big problem, because your people will come with an expectation looking towards you that you will guide them. And if you will not be able to guide them, either they will leave your organization, or they will crib, or they will continue there without adding any value. So if you are a stage at a self-employed and you are doing everything on your own, I really want to congratulate you. I really want you to wish you, and I want you to continue there for some more period of time. At least for 21 weeks or so. You should completely do that before even employing the first person in your organization. Do everything. And I will tell you what all those things you need to do at a very stage when you are a single member team, maybe as only a self-employed, maybe with one or two co-founders. And how do you manage that? Because you should keep your expenses as low as possible. In fact, there should be zero expense. You should use lot of free options available, and even the product should be available by which you can start generating the revenue. Even if you don't have a main product, doesn't matter. Now once you become that, then you go to the level of investor. Now what is investor? Investor means that now you are looking for an investment in your company. Now you have to look at from your business is running on its own. You have already started working on that concept of money working for you. You have a team who is able to delegate that work on that with the customers. Now start investing your time in reaching out to the investors. And business should be continuously running. Remember, if your business is not running and you start going to the investors, you will fail. Your entire system will break. So find out one co-founder who would be able to run the entire business for you, and one person go and fetch in investors for you. And that is where once you reach to that stage, in fact at some point in time, slowly your responsibility would be to actually become an investor or a guide only. And the company will continuously keep working on that, and then you can start utilizing that knowledge for other businesses. This is how money will actually starts working for you, wherein you say that it's very easy to say that don't do your business on your own money. Yes, it is right, but then it can be customers' money before even going to the investor. If one failed story can jeopardize your entire investment journey. So don't do that mistake. This is what the next part of it is. The people who are in left side of the quadrant, which is the employee and self-employed, they are having 5% of the wealth. And this is not what I am saying, it is what Robert Kiyosaki says in his book Cash Flow Quadrant. 95% of people are actually in this left quadrant. The real money lies here, which is 95% of the wealth. 95% of the wealth and only 5% of people. And if you see the fourth quadrant, it actually only 1% of the population. But the journey will start from being an employee to a self-employed to a business owner and eventually to an investor. It's a journey. So if you are at a self-employed position, focus over there so that you can sustain yourself. S also means sustain. Now, whenever you're running a business, entrepreneurship, there are various aspects. Now, which area you find challenge in at this point in time? I would like to know from each of you. So there are some of them are listed down here. Type in type in into the chat window, which is your hat which you are wearing right now, which is your expertise. You can wear multiple hats, but there would be one area where you're really great at. Okay, Peksha says market, Renuka says business plan, Tejasvi says increasing sales, marketing. Okay, Nisha says right customers, people. Channa says marketing and sales. Bhanumati says quite fast. Okay, I'm just catching up. Okay, uh, so Tejasvi says increasing sales, marketing. Nisha says figuring out right customers. Varshini Ram says people. Chandana says sales and marketing. Bhanumati says product design. Minakshi says people. Okay. Tejasvi says I need help in sales and marketing. Sachi said people. Margaret says creative thinking. Wow, that's interesting. Shweta says marketing. Onal says people. Devyanki says people and brand. Okay. Neera says production. Okay. Tejasvi says I'm not good in sales and marketing. Okay. Rituparna says brand. Neera says sales. Rupa says designing value proposition. Great. uh, Tejasvi says strategy. Apeksha focusing on marketing. Priyanka not expert in any of these as of now. No problem, Priyanka. That's nobody is an expert. You'll definitely be expert in your business. So we'll figure that out. Miss Prachi says marketing. Pravina says product. Okay. So great. So this is what each of you are having some or the other expertise or some of the challenges which you are facing. Remember, when you are a self-employed entrepreneur, actually starts with a solopreneur. Then it goes to an entrepreneur, and then it eventually goes to a business owner. So this is the journey of yours from a employed, which actually is a solopreneur journey. Then you go to an entrepreneur journey, which is probably your self-employed, and eventually you become a business owner. This is how your three-stage journey, which eventually grows into this. And you remember that when you are alone, you have to wear multiple hats. You have to understand all these concepts. And I will tell you today in terms of how exactly you can figure out and start from step-by-step process. You will not have to be bothered about what next. It is the step by step process which you need to follow. If you follow it religiously, you will definitely reach to an investor stage in your business. But you have to follow the steps religiously without discounting the fact, without kind of contradicting, okay, how it can work, how it will not work, why this will not work. And I can only say that this is all experience, and it's just not just the experience of me, it's the experience of my so many businesses, experiences of so many mentors, so many entrepreneurs, the ecosystem which we have developed. Basis on that, this entire framework has been set out. Okay, so the difference between so Meenakshi, I'll just answer that question of yours. So solopreneur is a person who is basically running it as a single person. There is no other person right now with him, either the team member or even the any co-founder as well. It's a single man or a single person army. They're doing everything, right from business modeling to value proposition to sales and marketing to technology setup to operations, delivery, everything you are doing it yourself. That is a solopreneur. You would have seen doctors who are sitting there somewhere. They're solopreneurs. I mean, if they are thinking like an entrepreneur. But if they are a general self-employed, it's a just self-employed model. But then there are second level of people where you start having some bit of a co-founder, some bit of a team structure, maybe a collaborative teams, maybe one or two employees with you. Then you start becoming an entrepreneur. And business owner is where you have a more team members, you have more defined domains around that, you have a better team structure into it, you have a different people for, let's say, you have a CXO layer with you, CMO, you have a CEO, you have a COO. Those are the different layers which you start having it, and probably you have more directors and business owners, are some more co-founders around with that. That is where your business owner comes into that. So it's a little hazy line, but that's the broader level of understanding into that. Now, this is where we started this journey of helping businesses or helping solopreneurs, entrepreneurs, and business owners to grow their business right from an idea to a unicorn in three-stage process: sustain, adapt, and scale. And how will you be able to do that is what I'm going to explain that in this entire methodology, which we have named as Design Your Unicorn methodology. Now, Design Your Unicorn methodology name has actually come in because you can design your business into a profitable unicorn even at the stage when it is only an idea. And that is what the beauty of this. And it is coming in because I come from a Lean Six Sigma background, and in that there is a concept called Design for Six Sigma. Have you all heard about Design for Six Sigma? Anybody of you? Can you put it in the chat window? Anybody has heard something called Design for Six Sigma? Okay, so Nisha says yes, she's heard. Okay, Renuka says yes. Okay. Okay, Nisha says incorporate, Prachi says no. Okay, yes, Dr. Sheikh. So looks like it's a quite informed audience, and I'm really happy and glad to see that. But I'll just explain for everybody. Design for Six Sigma is actually a methodology which is used to develop products when it does not exist. It is a methodology to develop products which is going to be accepted by the customer very well, even when you're actually launching your product, while before you're preparing yourself before launching the product, and you're designing that product in such a manner that once it hits into the market it becomes a super success. I mean, there can be still chances of not having it, but this is how it works as a Design for Six Sigma concept. Now, Design for Six Sigma is a very big, it's a concept which is used a very detailed methodology. But what I've done is I've taken a snippets from that and put it into a entrepreneurship model with my experience of corporates as well as the businesses, the startups. And that is what I've created a model that you should be a investment ready and eventually become a unicorn with this concept. So there are three major concepts which comes into this. Uh, so somebody says, Renuka says design thinking. So design thinking is a part of it, Renuka, and I'll talk about that as well. Now, what is Design Your Unicorn? Design Your Unicorn for startups and entrepreneurs. This basically captures into end-to-end business idea generation and execution. That is the business modeling stage. Will help you out in product development and POC approval, which is basically your proof of concept setup and things like that. Will help you in legal part of it, management, marketing support, sales support, what kind of IPR, intellectual property rights, which you should be taking care of, how you can protect your idea, how you can protect your businesses, from not, and when you should do that. How do you test your product? Then you will have a complete community support of all our entrepreneurs and investor community. So you will get that support onto that. And you will have a complete technology and fundraising support as well. This is what the entire community which we are building up in Design Your Unicorn. And now these are the four areas which I've been talking about that you will be getting the support step by step. And these are literally these steps. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, which area you are in at this point in time? Do you have a product ready, which is your one leadership alignment and team development? Are you into your product is ready, but you are now working on sales and marketing? Are you already having good business, but you want to now scale it up, have more technology platforms, make it more as a business rather than a self-employed? Or you are already ready for raising investments and you are having a good intellectual property? So which level you are in? 1, 2, 3, or 4? 2. Sachi says 2. Apeksha says 2. Chandana 2. Priyanka 1. Okay. Prachi says 2. Shweta says 1. Neera says 2 and 3. Nisha says 1. Nehak says 1. Alok 1. Onal says 1. Minakshi 1. Rituparna is 2. Bhanumati is 1. Rupa is 1. Okay. So looks like broadly at 1 or 2. And to Rajeshwari says 2. Thank you, Rajeshwari. Okay. So what I'm going to talk about is I'm going to help you out in all the 4 levels, and I'll keep my discussion limited to the level of 3. Fourth, I'll give you a hint that what investors look for so that you can prepare that while going through the processes from 1 to 3. Dr. Shaikh says 3. Okay, so we have 2 people who are somewhere around 3. Great. Now, this is the 4-step process. The same ESBI I have actually converted into a product PTOF matrix. I am kind of still working it out how to make it, but it is basically, if you see the picture behind it, there is a person who is coming with an idea and they're looking for an angel investor on the right hand side. This is what typically the scenario is, that you are looking for some investors, and the entrepreneur is looking for an investors or angels for them to fly off their business. The problem out here is that your entrepreneurs are sitting on the left hand side and the angel or investors are sitting on the right hand side of this particular quadrant. On the left hand side, what we think is that as soon as we have a product available, we can directly go and get it invested. We can directly ask for the money and the investors will pay. Yes, they used to pay. The situations have entirely changed today. They really do not pay on just a product. What they think is that I can go through the same cycle of developing a product, get a financing, then set up the operations, and then I show the progress or the traction. However, investors today, they want that you should be able to show the traction, that the customers are accepting that product. It is not just about an idea. First, you have to have a product around that. Then you have to test it out in the market, whether customers are buying that product from you or not. Are they ready to pay some price for it? You have to then see how will you have a better operations, how do you deliver it to them, so that the customers, there are some repeat customers for you. Once you reach to that stage, then only investors shows interest, and that is where you will get the finance. So financing is the last step for you to scale up your business. Now, it does not matter whether you have a small revenue, maybe less than ₹1,00,000 a month, or maybe you have a 10 lakh rupees a month. It really does not matter. Revenues is not the concern. The point is how many people are buying your product. Now, even if it is a $1 product and there are your thousands of customers, that's fine. But if you have $10,000 of product and you have no customer, investors won't be, and it may have a 80% profitability, still investors won't invest because repeatability is not there and the customer acceptance is not there. So your sustenance stage has to find out that the customers are buying it. You adapt to the customer requirements, which is your operation side of it, and then you scale it up through financing. This is how it's 3-stage process. Once you have a product, sustain at traction level, adapt while operating or managing it out, or serving the customers, and scale up using the investments. Okay. So I see one question around this. What is the scalability around that? So scalability, I'll definitely talk about that into this webinar, into this entire concept, so that you understand what does scalability mean. But scalability in normal sense is that you can do the same thing repeatedly again and again with a less number of people required, and you can increase your business in multifold without putting your time over there. So that is more of scalability is all about. Now, Design Your Unicorn, when we started, we created it into 5-stage process. There are 5 levels around it, and because I come from a Lean Six Sigma background, I've actually given them the belts. And the reason, one reason, anybody of you know why martial arts, judo, karates have belts given, and why we have given it in Six Sigma also? And because for the same reason, I put it in Design Your Unicorn as well. Anybody is aware about that concept? Okay, looks like no. Okay, so so the reason why judo, karates, and martial arts, all those have been given belts, is they are actually categorizing their skill set. They don't teach them only the structured steps. What they teach them is the process. They teach them the tools or the methodologies, or they teach them the the style of working onto that. So let's say if somebody is has caught you up from the behind, they will tell you 10 ways how you can handle that situation. Now it depends on the individual and the mastery on that particular technique, how you handle that situation. And it will always be possible that there will be one particular technique which is so good for you. Like all of you must be doing cooking. Do we do cooking? This if you want to cook a best paneer butter masala, will everybody have the same process or the technique? Yes or no? First put it in the chat window. So everybody makes paneer butter masala with the same recipe? And can we say that one paneer butter masala is better than some another paneer butter masala? We cannot. Both are good in their own form. It's about how you are customizing it based on your taste, based on your people who are wanting to eat it, based on the kind of probably the geography, the location where you are in. Maybe if the same paneer butter masala is served in Punjab, it will be more thick and more buttery and all that, and maybe more spicier. But when it comes to Gujarat, it may be little bit sweeter, but it is still the same paneer butter masala. And if you go in the south, it will be probably more spicier, maybe only with a lot of what do you say, the red spice. So it changes. So the similar way, your judo, karate, or martial art, they tell you the techniques how to do it. Absolutely, Meenakshi. You will take care of your family taste. So life, when you come into entrepreneurship, we also tells you in this Design Your Unicorn methodology, we tell you the steps, the process, the way it has to be done. You customize that basis on your customers. You customize that basis on your team. You customize that basis on your strengths and weaknesses. And then you take that journey from white belt to yellow belt to green belt to blue belt to black belt. And once you reach to a black belt level, you would know 104 areas in complete scenario, 7 pillars, and 105 modules to make yourself fully sustainable, adaptable, and scalable businesses. And these are the journey time period you will take to eventually become a unicorn, or eventually, in fact, to make sure that you are now having a perfect model or a startup who will eventually become a unicorn. And if you are doing it well, you may do it. There are people who have done the unicorn journey, traveled the unicorn journey in just 4 or 5 years' time. And this is where the skill set comes in. So you basically get certified on the skill sets, how you are taking your journey to the different level. So let's say if you're only at a white belt level, which is your level 1, wherein your only idea is there and you need to have the first level product. In that PTOF journey, you are only having you're converting that into a product. It will take only 21 days. And I'm talking about a product which you can go and fetch customers for that. You can make your money coming in the first 21 days itself. That is what the 21 days business sustainability challenge was there. Move to the yellow belt, which it goes to the MVP, which is your first product. Then you take it to the main product level. Then you take it to a recurring model, and then finally you scale it up. This is how you take this to the next level. This is what our 21 days business sustainability challenge, which we did it in April, and it actually was attended by 30 plus from 30 plus countries. Around 80 plus speakers have talked about. We have generated for 35 to 40 hours of content, and this is entirely on that. You can go to our YouTube channel and Bringle Talks, and you can check that as well. Sharmila can send you that entire playlist as well to you. Now, when you go to the business modeling, you should have multiple plans. Don't go with one plan onto this. Okay. And what it is important is that you should have a plan A, plan B, and plan C. Act model, action, take action into it. Okay. Don't stop. Create a very small model, and I'll talk about that. What is that product, which is called as EVP? Strategy is very, very important. Focus on numbers, cost, people, market trends, data. These are all very, very important aspects. Otherwise, you will have a challenge. Okay. After that, focus on strategy, focus on operations. This is where I'm going to now talk to you about product market fit strategy. What is the time, by the way? Let me just see it. Now, what is holistic transformation out there? One is your thought leadership, customer delight, transformation roadmap, and value generation. These are the four areas which you need to take care of. Now, what is that thought leadership involves is basically about your emotional intelligence, your connect with the customer. Why is that what you are doing? That is very, very important. How you are doing it, how you are delivering it, and what will be your product to deliver that. This is what you have to do it in first 21 days and make sure that you are entering into the market and testing out your customer target segment. Now, this is one. How many of you heard about Golden Circle of Simon Sinek? Great. So this is actually an extract of Golden Circle, concept of Simon Sinek, wherein you have to define your why first. Why are you doing that? And this is where your connect or emotional intelligence with your customers is very, very important. With your team members, it's very, very important. So you have to be aware about what business model you are in. Develop a value proposition for your business model in the basis of why, how, and what. And if you're not clear, you can check Golden Circle concept into of Simon Sinek on YouTube. You'll be able to get that understanding. Somebody was talking to me about design thinking, and this design thinking, it's actually is something called which you need to have a 5-year, 10-year blueprint available. So the first aspect in design your unicorn methodology is that you need to design your product. You need to design your services. It has to be developed at the time when it does not exist. Yes, it uses the concept of design for Six Sigma, but design thinking has evolved into a much broader aspect with much more tools and methodologies. So that is where you will learn and you will get to that. You should be going into that concept and develop a 5-year plan. Now you can develop it yourself by using a business model canvas and other things, but create a plan for yourself. So define all those aspects and create a unique roadmap for yourself so that you can have a unique buying proposition. You should not be going out and selling. Customers should be coming and buying it from you. How will it be good? Will it be good if customers comes to you and say, you know, please let me, I want to buy your product or service, and you're not going out and selling, and it is possible? How would it be? Now, remember one thing. If you want to make to do that, you should know your customer very well. The one big problem which we do in our businesses is we do not know our customer. Now, when I say we don't know our customer, it means who is your customer in your business. In your business, who is the customer right now? Please put it in the chat window. The first three ones I will explain who is the customer, whether you have identified the right customer or not, who can be the influencer and user in your business. First three answers. Who is your customer in your business? Priyanka says property host. Okay. Nisha says still working on who my right customer is. Apeksha says who is buying. Shweta says women 28 plus. Devyani says travelers. Okay. So okay, for interior people looking for interior design solution. Okay. So I'll just tell you property host. Can you explain a little bit about property host? If you want, you can unmute yourself and talk about it. I didn't understand that. I'll take that up as an example.
Hello, hi Ansha.
Yeah. Priyanka.
Yeah, so this is Priyanka. So the thing is like my idea is about is into marketing. So here I connect brands, the upcoming brands, with short-term rental properties where
Okay.
brands can actually market their products without having an offline store of their own. So they avoid the hassle of huge costs and finding the right location and stuff like that. So we connect them with a huge number of hosts. So the, for example, furniture.
Mhm.
So it can come from a certain brand.
Mhm.
The hosts of the property
Mhm.
place this in their space. So guests who come there can actually try on those products, and if they like it, they can make a purchase. So it acts as an experience stores for the brands.
Okay, so this is basically set up in where? In residential properties or somewhere?
Yeah, short term, like your Airbnbs, your OYO rooms,
Okay, that's a very unique concept
such
actually,
kind of
Priyanka.
properties.
I must say that. So who is your customer out here? Whom you are selling this?
So we are selling this to the property hosts. That is one, because they are the ones who are upcoming in the market, like the
Who is
upcoming.
paying the money? Who is paying the money?
Yes, so they are one is they are paying the money to place that products in their property because they are the upcoming Airbnbs in the market. So they will anyways need furniture for their houses and all. So we are targeting them. That is the first thing. The second thing is the guests who come to their properties and who make a purchase based on what they experience there.
Okay, got it. Got it. Thank you so much, Priyanka. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Uh, I want to hear. So Nisha, you said you're still working who my right customer is. So I'll explain this, I think you'll get that answer. Now Apeksha says who is buying. So she's actually explaining the customer definition. So I'll take up the next one, Shweta. Shweta, you says women of 28 plus of years. So can you unmute yourself and explain about your business model and customer?
Yeah, sure. Hi, this is Shweta. So I'm trying to build a personal goals platform. So my customers are women of the age 25, 28 to 45 years of age. So these are women who are in the corporate, who are in the mid-level management, and also women who are some business owners.
And
So
what is that you're giving them? What is that your product is?
so I'm creating a personal goals platform. So this is an online platform where people will come and pursue their personal goals.
Personal goals in terms of financial goals or personal success goals? What is that?
So any personal goal, right from wanting to be a published author, having a financial goal, having a travel goal.
Okay, so it's a
What,
goals management or traction kind of a platform. Is that so?
correct, correct,
Okay, okay, okay. Thanks, Shweta. I'll talk about that. I'll understand that. And they pay to you for using your platform. Is that the process?
correct. Yes.
Okay, okay. Thanks, Shweta. Okay, so Devyani, can you, as I promised three, so I will have to complete that. Devyani, can you unmute yourself and talk about what about your target segment of travelers?
Hello.
Yes, Devyani.
Yeah. So actually, I have two customers. One are the travelers, and the other is the service providers that are. So my venture is in the travel and tourism sector. Uh, I am developing a platform for taxi owners, local guides, and porters on destination of travel. So these two are my customers, the service providers and the travelers.
Okay, and who pays to you?
So I would be charging commissions for from both of the services.
Okay, okay, thanks, Devyani. I got your point. Got your point. So, thank you so much. You can mute yourself now. So, I'll just explain to you a little concept based on three different businesses. Okay. See, remember that customer is the person who pays for your product or your service. Who is actually the decision making authority and is going to pay for you. The influencer is the one who is going to influence those customers to buy it from you, and the user is the one who is actually uses the product or the service. Now I'll give you a very simple example from a school first, and then I go to these businesses. In the school scenario, parent is the customer because they are the one who are paying it. School cannot reach to the users directly, which is the students. And even if they reach the customer, they're not going to pay because they're not the decision maker, they don't have the money. So the school has to take care of their customers first. And influencers are the teachers, could be the teachers in that area, could be the parents of that particular students who are already studying in that. These are influencers who are ultimately going to bring customers for you. Now, similarly, in the example of property host, your customer is actually, you have to define one customer. You cannot have two customers initially unless you are able to have a different value proposition out there, clear value proposition. See, this is one of our problem is that we try to create multiple revenue stream. While in business, you should give opportunities to others as well. So I'll give you a story around there before I move forward. The story goes something like this. There was a vada pav wala. Okay, he was serving very good vada pav and that bhajia, all that into a local vendor, and there was a big queue out there. Now there is a chai wala, there is some other dosa wala and other people as well. And one of this vada pav customer, a vendor customer asked him that, why are you not opening up the chai also and dosa as well? You have so many customers. They will not go anywhere then. You have made such a wonderful vada pav, because sometimes I want to have dosa, then I have to go to somebody else. Then I want to have a chai, I have to go to somebody else. Why can't you only put everything into that? And he answered one thing very beautifully. And he said that if I will only do everything, what will others do? The business grows when everybody grows. So make sure that you have one customer. Don't try to create multiple revenue streams from the same aspects of it. It will create conflict. So identify, let's say in your property host business, either you charge the people who are hosting the properties, the items in their property, or you charge the users. You define that. You have to define a model accordingly. Similarly, in your travel business, find out whom you are going to charge. Who is your customer? It could be your the vendors, or it could be the actual travelers. If you try to charge from both, you will not be able to do business, because you have to give opportunity to others to grow. So be in a very narrow down target segment. That is how you narrow down your target audience, because your content will be very different for them. Travelers will have a different requirement, and travel service providers would have a different aspect or requirements. Define your target segment as either it is a B2B or a B2C model. Depending on that, your entire business model has to change. It could be B2B2C as well. Like if you're in a travel into your what was the other business which I spoke about, women of 28 plus. Now in that segment, if you are having a women of 28 plus, it could be a B2C. But let's say tomorrow you want to help people and give these women an option to shop and make it as an e-commerce thing. You will actually bring vendors on your platform, and these vendors would pay to you because you will have a target segment of that particular age group where they want to sell their products. So that is called B2B2C model as well, where you develop a community of women with a goal-oriented approach, but you don't charge it to them. You're charging it to the vendors who are coming in to promote their products because you have a community. Like Vardhan, which is Top 100 Mentors Club, Sharmila, we have a community of mentors. We charge to mentors, we don't charge to anybody else. So you have to define your customer very clearly. If you try to charge both from a customer and user, you will end up confusing yourself and your customers also. Don't do that. Identify their problem areas because their problem areas will be different. That is why it is very essential. How are they currently solving their problems? How do you think your product can add unique value to them which nobody else can? That is why you will have a unique buying proposition and customers will come and buy from you. You don't have to go and sell, but you have to be very clear and focused about it. Now, these are the 5 product levels which I spoke about earlier. I'll just give you a little glimpse around that. Once you start your business, the first 21 days, you should only focus on your lead magnets, developing a database, developing people of your own, customers of your own interest. I mean, they may be buying something or not. Then sell them the first level product, which is called as extreme value proposition. Extreme value proposition is a product which costs anywhere between 99 rupees to 999, not more than that. But they should feel that they have got 10x of value. Put your entire focus only on this product. This is actually one level below than your minimum viable product or even a proof of concept. You're not even having a proof of concept right now. This will help you to get some money into in revenues for you. Plus, it will help you to reach out closer to your target audience and understand their challenges. And then once they go run this product for at least 21 weeks, it's very, very important to adapt into the business. Keep your minimum viable product ready, at least the framework ready. Even if the product is not ready, it's okay, but the framework should be ready. Because you have 21 weeks for that. But start building up the customers. Start bringing in customers into that. And then you take up to the final product, which is your main offering, which will go for around 21 fortnights or months later on. And then you finally go into a recurring income model, which is your repeat customers, which is what investors look for. This is your 5 levels of product. This is your transformation roadmap in terms of Lean, Six Sigma, digital transformation, what the projects you should be doing. You should be picking up small projects around that. But this is a later journey around that. But start being a frugal mindset right from the start. Focus on data, focus on metrics, focus on processes. Develop a complete customer lifecycle journey. And define your value from the eyes of the customer. Why would they need your product? Is it the price you are competitive? Is your quality is better? Is your support system is good? Find out which area you are better. How would your product solve their problems? List their tangible, intangible benefit. More you understand about your customer and write down and create this word value proposition document, more you will be able to sell your things much faster. Attract buyers and the right target segment. See, the best customer will be exactly like you. And this whole journey is to find out the right customers, not just customers. And that is why this entire exercise is very important. You should be knowing your customers so well that customer also doesn't know about themselves, about their problem areas, about their desires, about their dislikes, about their fears. Who is worried about selling? How many of you like selling? Just put it in the chat window. Or how many of you don't like selling? Devyani says, okay. Shweta says me. Okay, she likes. So Shweta, you like selling or you don't like selling? Okay, Onal says we like selling. Okay, I want like selling. Okay, like selling begins even before we start designing. Bhanumati, that's great, right, Bhanumati? I would love to sell my product, Nisha says. Okay, great. So one thing which I would want to tell each of you, even if you have a negative belief about selling, every entrepreneur has to do selling. There's no other option. Because when you are a solopreneur, you have nobody. Even if you're an entrepreneur, if you don't know your customer and sell, how will you guide your team? But there are negative associations with it. Selling means pushing somebody, making somebody. Have you ever experienced this thing? Somebody come and told you, you have cheated me. You have sold me this product forcefully. I don't need it. Have you experienced something? Some of you have experienced something like this, or you have gone to somebody to sell, and you suddenly feel, trembling. Okay, no, I can't sell. Anybody has felt that? Any kind of weird experiences? Okay, Priyanka says yes. Dr. Shaikh says yes. So, okay, so Dr. Shaikh, would you mind unmuting yourself and then share about this, about your experience? Okay, anybody can unmute and. Okay.
Hello.
Yeah, Dr. Shaikh. Good.
It's pertaining to dog training.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so what was that?
Maybe one of the customers said that actually we wanted it to behave in this fashion. It is behaving in a different fashion.
Okay, thank you so much. So see, it happens with us many of the times when the customer comes to us and say that this is not what I wanted. And frankly, in our mind also we know that it is not the product which customer is looking for. And we don't have a product, but somehow the sale has been done. And remember, it will happen with you as well. It has happened with me as well. And it has happened with everybody. Just accept that factor. And it is better to have a right customer, attracting the right customers only. And that is why this entire process of selling has to be really enriching one. And find out the ways to attract the right customers who really need your product. For that, you should know your product very well. You should know your customer very well. And then slowly graduate them to from one level to the another level. There are three types of customers, or I would say the audience which you will find. One is the cold audience. If you start selling it to them, they will not buy. They will run away, which is what 80% of the people does that mistake. The second thing is a warm audience, where they have some liking, they have some interest, but they're still not ready to take a decision to buy. And there are hot audience, which are absolutely ready to buy, who are actually looking for a solution. So you should actually sell it to only to them. And if you do that, if you evaluate that very clearly, you will never have a challenge or something like this. So this is where the marketing or the lead generation part of it. This is an entire 9-step process by which you can develop yourself as an expert on social media and generate leads for yourself without any spending on advertisement. See, remember, all of you has to be on your social media and make yourself as a brand. Educate your customers about the product, about the problem areas which they have. Rather than selling. Once they reach out to you, Then you build them through that customer graduation system of the EVP, which is the extreme value proposition, and find out the right customer. Take a low cost risk at your side as well, that if the wrong customer has entered into your value chain, at least you can refund their money and come out of it. But if you have sold a higher amount product, you may not be able to return that as well, even though if you know that this is a wrong sale. How many of you are very active on social media and talking about their customers' problem areas, services, or selling some products? Any one platform as well is okay. Or are you using it only for socializing? How many of you are active on social media for business? Okay. So Dr. Shaikh says yes, Ms. Prachi says yes, Priyanka says yeah on LinkedIn, that's fine. Bhanumati says very poor in social media, okay. Shruti says I am active, okay. Sachi says little bit. Nisha says just started posting. Renuka says just beginning. Okay, so most of you are just beginning or have just started out here. Remember one thing, when you are there on social media, educate your customers about their problem areas and how you can solve them rather than directly selling. They will get more attracted towards you. See, the one statement which you should always remember, never ever socialize on social media. Yes, social media is for socializing, but remember, they are giving you that free. Actually, you are the product for them. More you socialize, more you are giving opportunities for them to target, to make you as a target for other vendors to sell it on you. But you should use the social media for your benefit, for your business. Be more active on that. And we'll help you out on that if you want to move ahead into this and support system, how do we go ahead. But this is how you should be making sure that you are not, see, right now everything is happening online. There are so many customers online, sitting online. And I'll tell you good news and a bad news today. Who is, and let me give you the good news first. The good news is anybody can get on social media and generate business. That's the good news. And the bad news is actually the same. Anybody can go into social media and generate the business. Now it's upon you, how do you attract the right customers? How you develop yourself, position yourself as a brand, you have to brand yourself first. Even today, I go on social media and talk about my company because people want to connect with people. Unless you are there available on social media, how will you sell? And never ever sell to your friends and families. My social media account does not have my friends and families. The biggest mistake which we do while going to our friends and family, भाई तू मेरा दोस्त है ना, प्लीज मुझसे खरीद ले, तू नहीं खरीदेगा तो कौन खरीदेगा? This is what we do, we plead. They are not our customers. Find out the right customers. Now, once you are done with this, once your products are ready, you have reached to that level, now you are ready for the investment stage. And I just want to give you a little brief around that, what investors look for. Why will they invest? One, their strengths and failures. While doing this, you will have a lot of failures. How you have taken that learning from that and developed that into your strength. What are your core strengths? What is the market size of that target opportunity you are targeting? What is the potential? How much money they can make? Traction for customer acceptance As I said, it's not just a product. It should be accepted by the market, by the customer. Competitor analysis. While you're there in the business, you cannot just say, I have the best product and keep your eyes shut and just say, because I am not able to see anything, my product is the best. Do a proper competitor analysis. Be aware about your competitors. In fact, I am part of even if I have to pay for my competitor's product and be part of into their community, I will always be there. And I do that even today. Just to understand what they're doing. And then fine tune my products. And a lot of people does that. I mean, I'm not saying you do it right away in terms of paying, but there is a lot of information available. Bootstrapping. They want to see that you already have put in your money, time, efforts into this, and you're completely all in. And you're not looking it as just a pocket money, ek idea aa gaya, or let's go to my father and take money. So this is what I wanted to share with you, all of you. And if you are okay with that, then I would like to share who are we, why are we doing this, what is that, with your permission. So if you're okay, you can put in the chat window. Should I go ahead into this? You would like to know more about us? Okay, thanks Shweta, Shruti, Peksha, Renuka, Pravina, and Rituparna. Great. Thank you so much for, first of all, listening till here and being there and being a very, very active participant in this webinar. This whole journey started around a year back when we actually started working on the concept of Design Your Unicorn. And I wanted to work on the startup ecosystem. And this lockdown actually built up this story and took this story globally to around at least 30 plus countries for us at that time. And we had a coverage in 140 plus countries. This show was viewed in 140 plus countries, completely organic reach. And this is what Bringle is all about. So Bringle, me and Sharmila are the co-founders, and we have two investors right now. Anil Patel from UK. He's also the director of our Bringle UK entity, and Sudha Jain, who's basically IT and project management. She's my wife as well. Bhavesh Kothari is a co-founder and director of Millennium Divas, and he has been running multiple startups, and he's been pioneer in mentoring startups for the last 25 plus years. He has co-founded this Millennium Divas. It's a women-focused company, which is with Shalini Sarkar. Shalini Sarkar is an ex-advisor to Maharashtra Chief Minister and Maharashtra government. And okay, so before I move ahead, I think there's a question out here. Priyanka, you says, do investors find single founder startup risky to invest even if we have good traction and operations? Priyanka, yes, you are absolutely right. See, the reason why they found it risky is you are actually self-employed. If you are not there, the businesses are not running. And remember, investors invest in businesses, not in self-employment. So if you're not running it as a business, if you do not have two co-founders at least, and that too also for a long period of time, at least 1 year relationship you should have. If you have survived 1 year of business relationship, then only they consider that. So it cannot be that, okay, you call in somebody today and say that he is my co-founder or she is my co-founder. They will also want to know your past relationship with them. Like Sharmila and me are working for the last 3.5 years now. Even though we have interacted way back in 2013. So the investors will focus on that because there will be lots of ups and downs which will come into the business. You cannot say that one person will be able to do that. So investors definitely look for that. Because you will not be able to sustain. Now, I'll just tell you something about me. I've done my engineering from Delhi College of Engineering and marketing and finance from Symbiosis. I'm an ASQ certified Lean Six Sigma Master Black Belt and a PMP professional. I've got, as I said, I was the youngest vice president at the age of 34 years, and I was earning the highest amount of salary at that time. Even today, organizations are not able to sustain that salary. I've helped, hundreds of global MNCs to save, help them in $100 million plus of revenue generation or cost optimization. And one fine day, I lost my high-paying job with a flash of a second. I was very much about employment. I was always about employment. My father always used to tell me, do business. He always used to tell me stories of Dhirubhai Ambani. But I was said, even if I'm a CEO of an organization, what's the problem? I can work in an MNC and work at a very good level. And that's what happened with me. I was left with all the crises, personal crisis, financial crisis, professional crisis. And I was doing something, I actually went into doing something which I am not very proud of today. I started my own ventures. I had nobody to tell me what businesses I should be getting. How can I grow my businesses? And that's the time that book Rich Dad Poor Dad actually came in front of me. And that is why the entire concept restarted off. Wherein getting good grades, getting a good job had no future. It took me 7 failed businesses and my entire savings and investment to realize that there are 4 areas, 7 pillars, and 105 ways or reasons by which businesses can go make or break. That is where I decided to develop and work on this concept and develop 100 unicorns by transforming 1 billion mindset and 1 billion businesses. Now with this, I would like Sharmila to explain, give a little introduction about herself. I'm sure all of you have already known her, but I would want her to explain about herself.
Yeah, most of us are known to each other by now. I am in the IT sector for last 32 years now. 20 plus in the social impact. And my experience in working with the government has been my mainstay in the disability work that I do. Uh, can we go ahead, Ansha? Yeah, I have this helpline that I run with some survivors on encephalitis. I work with the Ministry of Education, the Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment, even with the MSME. So a lot of my policy work is done with government of India.
Thank you so much, Sharmila.
Next,
Sharmila, are you there?
yeah, I am very much here.
Okay. I think
Very much here.
I think lots connectivity. Okay, so that's how I think Sharmila had been a real inspiration, not for many others, even including me. So thanks Sharmila for being there with us for such a long time.
Thank you, Risha. Actually, Anshul and I met in our previous jobs, and
Right.
that's how we connected even later on. And yes, we have a mindset that gives us this strength to run this marathon.
Right.
So,
So thank you so much for that. And from there, then we started building up. Even after our failures, we have had multiple ups and downs within within our journeys as well. And Bringle is one of the startup which we have got. We are among the top 3,000 startups between, within North America and India. And it has been felicitated by IIM Calcutta and Department of Technology, Government of India. Millennium Divas made us, felicitated as top 10 startups of Mumbai. And we have got a National Entrepreneurship Award. We have got a selected for the second round of National Entrepreneurship Award by Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship. We work with AIC Niti Aayog as a partner in startup ecosystem for mentoring and other things. I am part of, I am advisory board member in WASME, which is World Association of Small and Medium Enterprises. Bringle has been featured as for 21 Days Business Sustainability Challenge by Radio Masti 24/7 Singapore. Fever 104 FM Bangalore has featured us as a super startup out there, and multiple other by Sunday Guardian and Hello Biz Magazine and Sunday Guardian, different things which we had been kind of getting awarded. Bringle Academy have got a Skills Development Program Institute Award by National Innovation Awards. And I would like to know about your feedback if you have anything. How was your journey so far? And would you like to continue your journey with us from here? If you don't want to continue with whatever your journey is, I would like to know your experiences. You can put it into the chat window, or you can unmute yourself and share about your experiences. Or if you have any questions, you can ask with us. Because we are ending this session out here, we will be now taking this session forward with those people who would want to really take this up journey to eventually design their unicorn. So we have a offer available for all of you. There'll be and which we would want to, but only for the people who are interested. So would you be interested to continue your journey with us further from here? Or you would like to know from at least what is the offer there for you? Okay, thanks Nisha for your feedback, for your Priyanka, thank you so much. Prachi, thanks. Bhanumati, Nisha, Neera, thank you. Okay, so we'll go ahead with you, Neera. We'll talk about it more. Nehak will definitely share that. What is the offer on that? Priyanka, please let us know more. Okay, sure. Great. Dr. Shaikh says yes, thank you. Sachi says thanks for such a helpful session. Thank you so much. Okay. So here, as I said earlier, that this is a journey for us in the last 1 year, where we had been building up this entire ecosystem of mentors, experts, methodology, framework, what kind of things which you need, and how you can make yourself sustainable in the long run. How you can make your startup or your business to be a investor friendly startup, investor ready startup. How you can make sure that you start generating revenues right from early age within 21 days and sustain your business rather than depending on investments entirely. And this is where we have developed this entire model of design your unicorn, where we have developed this sub concept called 21 days business sustainability challenge, wherein every day we will have a concept or a different assignment for you, where you will be able to develop that for yourself, for your business. And at the end of 21 days, you will be absolutely ready to go and launch your products into the market and actually monetize it. This is where you will be able to, within next 21 weeks, you will be completely investor friendly, and you will eventually get funded as well. I mean, whether it is a seed funding or a, the pre-series A or a series A funding, that can be taken up over there. And we ourselves will take you to our investor network. Whoever will clear that journey will pass on that. We will take you to the investor network. And even once you, at the end of these 21 days, we will still put you in front of the investors so that you can test out whether it is investor friendly business model or not. So this is what a 21 days cycle would it be. And if you get funded, we will be there with you forever till the time you will be into the business and you'll be eventually taking it to the unicorn. So it's that model which we have developed into this, and this is where I will be explaining to you what we will be looking at it into this. Now, there are 7 pillars to this. We have spoken about 4 areas till now, which is your thought leadership, your customer delight or customer experience, sales and marketing, your process and digital transformation, and your value generation, which is your basically finance, investments, and legal part of it. Now, these are the four areas, but you need to have these pillars with you. One, you should have your leadership aligned. Your leadership team has to be very, very clear. Your scope, your business model, what is your, who is your customer, who are the people, what is your process, technology has to be defined very well. You have to define your work streams, where you are going to define your revenue work streams, what are your cost work streams. All those has to be defined very clearly out there. Define target operating model, where you, what is the process, how, what technology platforms you are going to use, what is the roadmap you are going to use, what are the product levels you are going to use, develop into that. All that has to be defined, and then manage change. There will be a lot of times you will find challenges with respect to your people retention, people management, emotional intel, which you have to connect with your customers. There will be some feedbacks, there will be good and bad feedbacks. How do you manage that? There'll be a situations changing, adaptability, because suddenly COVID kind of situation can come in and your business may completely wiped out. Lot of travel companies startups have got wiped out. SoftBank has lost 15 unicorns within 15 days after lockdown, 15 or a month or so. This situation you should be ready with. It can come anytime, so that change management is very, very important. Six, deploy and institutionalize. So test it out within your customer, implement it within the, on the field, on the ground, and test it out and manage it better. Because if your customers loves you, they will help you. We have helped so many businesses today who have basically been able to survive even in the situation of COVID, even in the hospitality sector. I think I would want to share this video with all of you before I go forward, which is the hospitality industry, how this person has changed after this 21 days challenge, how he has changed the entire scenario, and he has managed to retain his customers, even being in the hospitality, which was the most hit, business.
I've been working with corporates for about 14 odd years. And then I got into this business of bed and breakfast facility providing way back in 1998 accidentally. Okay. So I started with the single flat in Mumbai, that is a Powai, and then gradually went on to acquire another 8 properties. And we are debt free company as such from 2008 onwards. Okay. When this COVID-19 problem started, see, we have faced a problem of employee exodus suddenly. I mean, 3 guys were on leave, and balance 8 of them, they told me on 20th of March that all of them, they wanted to leave for their hometown. I mean, I tried to convince them very hard, saying that, I mean, right now, see, going to Assam or Nepal or Bihar is equally difficult, because during train journey also you can acquire. But they're not ready to listen, because their family members were saying, like, more than money, I mean, life is important. So on 20th night, I gave them salary checks. And then I said, look, it is your choice. I would expect, to stay back and be safe. But I mean, they decided to go back, and then they applied for, say, instant ticket. On 20th or 21st, I mean, they encashed the salary checks, and on 22nd, the news came saying that all the train journeys are, I mean, not possible. All the trains are cancelled. So first, I mean, a week or two, they were reluctant in continuing as such. During that period, like government also said, look, hospitality services are stopped now. I mean, no hotels, no homestays, nothing is going to work. So I said, now you're going to just, I mean, relax, enjoy your life. Okay. I mean, make food for yourself. Your salary is intact. There is no problem. You can keep talking to your, family members every day. And as soon as this problem is over, you can think of going back to your hometown. In the meantime, I mean, Rajeshri told me that this is the business sustainability course which is going to start. And I thought, I mean, this is a practical problem that I want to solve. So this could literally helped me out. It's basically blessing in disguise for me. So I have been attending this program, religiously, and I got these answers from some of the webinars. One which I enjoyed a lot was customer life cycle, and second was value creation. See, from customer life cycle program. See, earlier I used to basically concentrate only on external customers. I mean, internal customers, yes. I mean, I used to pay them salaries. I used to pay them hefty bonuses. But I mean, from that webinar, I realized that unless you make internal customer extremely happy, I mean, their basically treatment to outside customer will be, I mean, dependent on their comfort levels.
Yes.
So what I decided was, then I started talking to my friends, fellow entrepreneurs, how they are going to take care of the situation, as far as COVID-19 is concerned, because business are going to get affected, how they're going to take care of the customers, I mean, as well as employees also. So some people said, like they will pay half the salary. Some people said, whosoever wants to, I mean, takes a 30% cut, 40% cut, will manage that. Then it again depends on government help. So what I decided was, I spoke to my stakeholders. I spoke to some of my customers also that this is the situation. So a couple of them, they said, look, we will pay you whatever your outstanding amount is. So, and very happy to say that, like, I mean, couple of engineering companies and one shipping company, they cleared their outstandings. And see, what I've done is I have told my employees.
See, this is the power of having a trustworthy customer. And once you realize that, going into that, and I will answer that another question. Nehak, I will talk about it. My customers are government organizations, city development planning authority. How could I get funding? Who should I approach? Okay. So I will talk about that later, that you need to figure out basis on this process onto that. And we will be helping you out to make yourself, first of all, the investor ready, investor friendly. And then we ourselves will align you to some of the investor networks. And we will tell you where are the other areas where you can get those benefits. Now, this is what the 21 days challenge which we started off. We'll also talk about the entire thing of business influence, how it is going to work, how you identify your influencers, how do you set your goals, how do you acquire those skills, traffic system, how do you generate, expert impression system, EVP creation system, offer stacking system, referral system, objection handling, customer nurturing, tools to set up the hiring right people. All of this will be covered into these entire modules out there. This will be a 21 days program wherein it will start with every day we will have a 1 hour session on this, wherein we will be giving you the entire understanding of businesses on the all the 4 areas, on all the different 21 areas, 21 days. We will have 21 different topics we will be discussed basis on the different aspects of it. So the first week would be thought leadership. The second week, which is the value proposition, basically your business model. The second week would be the sales and marketing. The third week would be on processes and digital transformation, how you can set up the right processes, how you can use the technology platforms. And fourth would be your investment planning, that how you can how you can protect your IPR, how you can develop your investments, all, how you can have your pitch deck ready, how you can develop your financial model, how you can make your business model, and how you can pitch it in front of the investor. All of that will be covered in 4 weeks time, which is 21 days. And the final day, we will then we will have a one pitch, 1 minute pitch session for all of you in front of our investor network, wherein you will be pitching it in front of them. And at the end of that session, if the investors invest with you, they will directly invest with you on the same. And accordingly, we will be giving you more opportunities otherwise. So there will be one set of investors, then there will be another set of investors. We'll keep giving you these opportunities basis on that. And you can use this concept to fine tune your business model. This is how we are going to help you in the 21 days with this framework. And at the end of that, we ourselves will give you a lot of opportunities to go and pitch in front of the investors. And also you can find it out yourself, but you will be completely investor ready, investment ready startup. And you will also be generating revenues out of from your business. This is what the 21 days business sustainability challenge we will be taking it from you. So I would want to know how many of you would be interested in taking this forward. Yes, Neera, goal setting would be covered. So there will be around, as I said, one would be goal setting, value proposition, your product detailing, what products you should be creating, your sales marketing techniques, how you should be selling, objection handling techniques, closing techniques, marketing, personal branding system, your we will be covering your processes, your product levels, your technology platforms which you can use free of cost or maybe some bit of a cost to, how to develop your website, what are the things you can take care of, how you can start educating your customers, how you can scale up your businesses using online mode, then finally your investment decks preparation and everything with your intellectual property. What is your intellectual property which you should be protecting? How you should be valuing your startup so that you can have the right investor into the ecosystem. So all that will be told in this 21 days program. This is what it will be there. This will be the complete live session, 1 hour each every day. We will be doing this session, and this will be the entire things we will be covering it onto that. So if anybody is interested, uh, then you can join this session right now. We are going to take this amount to, actually we were planning to keep it at 50,000 rupees, but because of the current scenario, because not everybody can afford, we have kept it at only 11,100 rupees at this point in time. And this is a one time cost, never ever repeat cost you will have to pay anytime. It's a lifetime cost which you will be getting. You will be part of our private WhatsApp group where you can ask your questions at any point in time. We will help you out. We will keep sharing lot of other incubators or investors framework wherever the competitions are happening. Everything we will be doing it over there. So Neera, this is the one time lifetime course available which we will be giving it to you. There is a higher level course which we will decide at that point in time if you need it, but that is not defined at this point in time. We are only offering this. This will give you the entire support system out there. So we don't want to give any kind of false excuses that we get you into something and then we sell something else. No, our purpose is to make you sustainable and then you take you to the investable zone. This is all what we want to do. And you will travel through the journey of certification. We will keep certifying you accordingly. So if you want to pay for it, you can go through the link which I've sent it into that. Now, what is that you are going to be covered into this and how you are going to get benefited? These are the key objectives which we will be focusing on this. One is entrepreneurship mindset. So your mindset, goal setting, value proposition will be set up. Holistic skills development, skill set development, which we will be doing in terms of any kind of skill sets you require, basis on sales, marketing, any kind of processes, technology setup, everything. We will work on a complete processes, complete right things, business model for yourself for a sustainable business. We'll connect you with the investors ecosystem. We will set you up with we will give you some free lot of mentoring support. We'll also give you opportunities to get incubated with some incubators which you will definitely get funding if you clear that. All those aspects will be supporting you in 5 stages. So this is right now from ideation to bootstrap to early phase to market phase and growth phase. So we will be supporting you out there, and your investment model will be made in such a manner that your entire cost, the further cost of mentoring or anything which will be there, will be taken up by the investors over there. That's how the model is going to be. If you are interested, please go ahead and let me know, because this offer is going to change. This offer is going to be there only for today. Tomorrow we are going to change the pricing of this. So please make sure that if you are taking a decision, please take it now so that we can give you the maximum benefit. We'll be working out on your identifying your target segment or what platform you should be promoting yourself, helping you to for your social media branding strategy, positioning yourself as an influencer, placing the lead magnets. How do you create lead magnets to generate more and more leads? How do you share more information to the lead in emailers, SMS, WhatsApp? How do you use various integrated payment gateways, auto triggers, auto responders, so that you can reduce your efforts? Set up auto and live webinars for educating your customers and making your audience grow and your customers eventually. Selling your first product wherever you're finding challenges will help you with that. Working with you on your website building of your MVP, at least a basic website or something where customers can know more about you. Okay, Sharmila, can you please share this link with everybody on the WhatsApp as well?
Yeah, I will.
Okay, so Sakshi, this offer will be there, but the prices are the only thing I cannot commit is the price. As I said, it is actually priced at 50,000 rupees because it's a one-time cost, it's a lifetime cost which we are charging. This is only a discounted offer, and right now this is the only workshop which I'll be doing it live. After that, it will not be live. This is the first and the this is the only workshop which I'm going to do it completely live. I'll be starting up sometime in January only. Till that time, we'll be giving you certain pre-recorded sessions which you can go through and kickstart your journey. And by January, we will start this program. If you join in January, then you will have to join it at the price which is applicable at that point in time. So you can choose accordingly. And as I said, by in a 1 month's time, you probably your business model should be already ready, and we may actually give you an opportunity to go through various investor networks. So before January, before the program starts, you actually can go into a very good sustainable business model. So we will do all these benefits, and if you want any more questions, you can reach out to Sharmila or to me. This is my number. So Neera, even if you have the customers, then you need to scale it up. So in our entire model, this 21 days is not only for those businesses who are not having customers. That is only for the first week. We will be focusing on that. The second week we'll be focusing on increasing the sales, how you can market it well. The third week we will focus on how you can deliver the customers much better so that they can have a good experience with you, and you can develop a customer lifecycle experience so that you can scale that up, how you can various technology platforms, how you can scale up your businesses, and finally we will help you to make it investor friendly business. So it will be a 4 weeks or 21 days program, wherein right from an idea till the level of your scaled up or investor ready program, we will be helping you out there. So this is how it will be different from others. Yes, Neera, it will definitely help you because see, what we have seen is that even if the businesses who are having customers, they have to really redefine their customers. They have to understand their customers very well. They have to define their value proposition very strongly. And I'll tell you my story. We were about to close Bringle 6 months ago because we were not having business. Because we were not having, money. We were not able to generate revenues while we were having some customers, but we were not able to scale it up. We ourselves got aligned, upskilled ourselves. We invested in our education, and we invested with great mentors across the globe with different mentors, and then we have implemented and brought that information and applied it into Bringle and made it as a self-sustainable startup. Now we are getting multiple. Vardhan is also one of the outcome of that. In fact, now we are getting funded for both the organization, and now we are a self-sustainable startup with a net positive cash flow. So this is where once you change your value proposition, you identify the right target segment, right customers, you can really grow it very, very well. So even this grown businesses, even the paid businesses who have paid customers can get benefited by this entire process. So it is not about that you are just starting, or you might have already customers, or you already have good amount of customers. But if you want to scale this up to make a unicorn, you need to follow the right process. So I'm going to work with you on the process part of it. Yes, Neera, self-education is very, very important. See, I can give you the structure, but ultimately it has to be implemented based on all of you. Thank you, Meenakshi, for being there and listening till here, and looking forward to see you part of the community soon. Sure, Neera. Looking forward. You can reach out to Sharmila. Sharmila will add you into the respective group, which is another private WhatsApp group where we'll start our journey accordingly. Whoever will join now, we will start their journey immediately by giving them some sales and marketing training program, which is around 10 hours training program. You can start with that and start launching your products in a much better manner, whichever stage you are in. Thank you, Meenakshi, for your support. Thank you so much. Okay, so if nobody has any questions, then we can close the session. Thank you, Shweta. Thank you so much, everybody, whoever has joined, and thank you for the participants who have completed it till the end. Because believe me, you are one of those 1% people who are action takers. Because it's not easy to sit in 2 hour long session. So thanks Bhanumati, thanks Dr. Shaik, thanks Meenakshi, thanks Neera, thanks Nehak, thanks Onal, Priyanka, Renuka, Shweta. You've done a wonderful job, and please give a big round of applause to all of you. You have done a wonderful job, and I believe me, you are doing awesome job by doing this. This shows me the commitment, this shows me the mindset. So thank you for giving me an opportunity to share about my thoughts and believe in my vision, believe in me, and staying it up till here. Offer is only to cover up the efforts part of it, but we want to make it so affordable that it can be done by, it can be afforded, it can be taken up by every entrepreneur at every place. That is why we have kept it very, very low. We are not trying to, the purpose here is not to make money. The purpose here is to build the ecosystem, to grow the startups, to really eventually get those 100 unicorns. It's not going to be easy. You have to do a lot of work. So more and more people who are coming in and attending our sessions, I'm really thankful to all of them. And thank you to all of you, especially who have been there till the end. Thank you so much. Looking forward to see you all again and in our community. And keep bringing, keep growing.
Thank you.